Here's an overview of Unit 2. We're going to switch gears and focus on harmony for a bit. Chromatic harmonization number 1 uses chromatic harmonization or parallel harmony to help you get comfortable with your chord playing in a musical way. I think you'll be surprised at how effective this approach to learning chord shapes will be for you. We get you started just with some triads. In chromatic harmonization 2, we add one note to those triads so that you have a major 7th inversion that you're moving around. Then you'll switch over to another video lesson. I dedicated an entire video to this because this is rather involved. More chord shapes for further exploration. The key phrase is for further exploration. Spend a little bit of time with this just to kind of get a taste of it. You'll never quite get done with these 2 pages. This first exposure is just to give you a taste of some nice jazz chord shapes. I encourage you to come back to these 2 pages after you've completed more of the units in this book. I think the more playing you do, the more you'll appreciate what's going on here. Don't spend too much time on it the first time. I think there's a lot of exposure to good jazz chord shapes here, and you'll benefit from that. Then after spending some time with harmony, it's time to get back into the groove. Coordination number 2. We're just going to challenge you further in the same context with the shuffle accompaniment in the left hand. And then to finish the unit, we'll have you play the rest of shuffle number 1, which is again more soloistic and less of an etude. Let's dive into Unit 2, Chromatic Harmonization. Chromatic harmonization is also called parallel harmonization. I think a music teacher introduced the concept to me in this way by playing Happy Birthday in parallel root position triads. And then the teacher picked another shape, maybe a stack of perfect fourths. And maybe that doesn't sound too crazy to you, but depending on the elements of the melody, it can get kind of weird sometimes. Anyway, I've found that this chromatic harmonization is a great way for you to load in chord shapes. It also provides a great way to practice chord playing, and I've also provided a separate video where you can explore good pedaling techniques using chromatic harmonization as a context to explore that. So the melody drives this harmonization process, so you have to get to know the melody. This is a blues melody, a minor blues melody, D minor blues. And you can listen to the recording of it. Make sure to play the melody enough times so that it's guiding you when we load it up with chords. So I've notated the harmonization already. What I ask you to do is to name each of the triads, and I got you started in measures 13 and 14. Just use a pencil or a pen and write in the rest of them. You don't want to be spelling chords every time you play them, but I do think you need to spell them and recognize them once at least. And then after that, the idea is to try to pass it over to muscle memory. And we're going to use some of the same practice techniques that we used when we explored the chromatic scale and also that triad exercise. And it's not coincidental that we're starting with second inversion triads. But this time, in order to accommodate the melody of F, the second inversion triad needs to be a D flat major triad. So we're going to start there. And in order to build this, maybe 4 repetitions. The next triad is an E flat triad with that G on top. Maybe you're noticing that the thumb is on a black key, so you're in a little bit more. You come out for the F, in for the A flat, in and over, back out. There you go. Now I'm just using 1, 3, 5 to play that. You might want to try 1, 2, 4 if your hands will fit that. That might be useful if you want to switch fingerings from time to time. See how I'm doing that? I'm going 1, 2, 4, then 1, 3, 5. I don't think 1, 2, 4 helps you much here, but maybe here, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 5. All of this can be worked out by repeating the chord like that. And I think once the right hand starts to settle in, and don't worry about it being connected or legato at first. You can add the left hand part. Play it slowly. It does not need to be fast. It's sort of a ballad blues. You'll find that just locks those chords in for you. So when we move on to Chromatic Harmonization 2, start by reviewing the melody like a palate cleanser, kind of clean slate. Keep that melody sort of, on the front burner to guide you as you get into this. Once again, take a pencil out and label each of these chords. We're not just using triads now, we're using second inversion major 7th chords. And if you practiced 1, 3, 5, all you have to do is tuck in that major 7th right under your 3rd finger. So you're using 2 and 3. So some of your muscle memory will be established already. But again, it's just different enough that you need to go slowly and trust the process of the repeated chords. And it'll start to feel just as easy as if you were just playing second inversion triads as you get more familiar with the feeling of it. So. And when you put this over the bass line, because the chords are more dense, it starts to sound unusual. Sounds to me a little bit like a 70s cop show, especially if we start, you know. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't sound too dated to you. Great way to use, you know, chromatic harmonization, though, to input these chord shapes, you know, understand them, recognize them, but also load them into your muscle memory, you know, by using this repetition. And it's, you know, you're getting used to the sound of them too. You know, you're challenging yourself by playing something that, you know, sounds different. So hopefully that keeps you curious.